Hey guys, it's Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Superboy issue 1. So let's talk about the cover first. When I first saw this cover on the internet, when they're revealing all the DC reboot stuff and all the titles that are coming out, I didn't really like the cover. Just because it has all these cyborg robot things going on. I thought, is Superboy gonna be a robot? What's going on here? And I was scared to see, oh, is he gonna be a clone still? Or are they changing everything of the Superboy? So I got this issue and I'm like, alright, now I gotta see what's going on with Superboy. Well, we find out in this issue. Let's jump into the issue. I didn't really like the cover. Alright, so let's jump into the issue. Superboy is still a clone. He is half human and half Kryptonian. And that's half a clone is Lex Luthor and half a clone of Superman. And so he's in the lab and people are studying him. And the only person that cares about Superboy somewhat is this redhead lady. And Superboy realizes that. Superboy, there's this test on Superboy seeing what he's thinking. So they give him like a simulation dream. And we see that he has parts of Superman. He wants to live in a small city. But he also has parts of Lex Luthor because there's this woman burning in a building. But he keeps walking. He doesn't even say anything about it. Just keeps on walking. So that shows that he doesn't want to save this person. Like, why is that? Because he has half of Lex Luthor's DNA. So, and then in the end, we got to see this doctor says, I want this boy. I want him now. This clone, this experiment. And the woman, the redhead, who somewhat cares about Superboy, says, no, he has to be in a controlled area because science experiment might change everything. But they take him out anyway, so could this change Superboy's life forever? And we're going to see how this affects Superboy by being out of a controlled environment. Alright, so I'm going to tell you the good and bad about this issue. The bad about this issue, I think, was that I think he's going to be a lot more like the Young Justice Superboy than Superboy we know from the comic books. Because in Young Justice Superboy, the first episode, this issue actually reminded me of the first episode of Young Justice. Him being in this containment chamber. Just the beginning of, before even, let's say the prelude of the Young Justice episode. Just seeing how he was in this lab, he's got to escape, let's see what happens. You know, so I think it's going to be a lot like Young Justice. I think he's going to be a little bit more darker. And I think he's going to have to choose, am I Superman or am I Lex Luthor? But he did that in the comics also. There's, you know, Superman Boy Steel trade and as the Adventure comic books. He had to decide, am I Lex Luthor or am I Clark Kent? But then he realizes he's Connor Kent. He's himself. He doesn't have to be either of them. So hopefully he realizes that in this series also sooner than later. Something else I didn't really like in this issue was in the art, I would say. The art was really good, but the only thing I didn't like is how Superboy looked, right? Superboy always had, you know, the classic hair up, and I always liked that. And he was strong. He wasn't lanky over here. It doesn't seem like he has super strength. It doesn't seem like he's a clone of Superman. So hopefully they change Connor's look a little. Yes, I know he's gonna look different in DC reboot, but I hope he does look a little bit like he did in the before DC reboot. So hopefully we get to see that. But that's the only things I really didn't like, just because it's so similar to Young Justice, and I wish they kind of strayed off that. I mean, I know there's such a popularity with Young Justice, and I guess that's why they want to intertwine it with the comic books. But I wish it maybe just stray off that a little and have its own story in the comic books. That's what I wish, but hopefully they do stray off a little bit from Young Justice. But there are some good things. We get to see, yes, Connor's still a clone. And we're getting to see not just starting off saying, oh, I'm clone, blah, blah. We get to see the process of him and him build, because this is the beginning. This is really the beginning of Connor. And we get to see the beginning, and as the series goes on, we get to see his journey, and we get to see him evolve. And I can't wait for that. And I think, hopefully, it's going to be a good series. I think this series is going to change a lot over time, just because he's going to start out as experiment clone, but I think his life is going to take him different places. You know, Smallville, meeting up with Superman, who knows where it's going to take him. But maybe, well, I know he's going to be on Teen Titans, but how does he get there? And I think this series is going to show that. So I thought it was a pretty moderate issue. I give this issue a 3.5. I didn't really, I told you I didn't really like the cover. There's some bad things about it, but I think there's some good things to pick up also. I think this series might be pretty good, but it depends what route they go on. And there's a lot of different routes this series can go, and can't wait to see what happens. So I say pick it up. This was Comic Uno. Hope you enjoyed. See ya.